Please be seated. On the record on 19 CR 586 A and B, State of Ohio versus Daniel Groves and State of Ohio versus Jessica Groves. State may call their next witness.
Your Honor, the state would call Daniel Groves, Jr.
During the break, for the media's purposes, we did consult with the Daniel Groves Jr.'s guardian, and she did object to him being filmed or photographed, so I would ask that the cameras be lowered such as not to catch his image during his testimony. There will be no photography during his testimony either. And if you'll stand here, you raise your right hand for me, please. You raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please have a seat.
Sir, I need you to tell the jury your name.
My name is Daniel Groves, Daniel Allen Groves.
Okay. You're Daniel Groves, Jr., is that right?
Yes.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 15 years old.
Such as near away from the microphone.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 15 years old.
Okay. And you go to school here in Scioto County?
Yes, at Northwest High School.
Okay.
Speak up a little bit if you can. All right?
Almost like you're yelling at that officer in the back of the courtroom, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Your parents are Daniel and Jessica, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you, not where you live, but who do you live with?
I live with my aunt and my uncle, Phyllis Shirey.
Okay. And when did that happen? That you went to live with your aunt and uncle?
Up near the beginning of 2019 in April, I believe.
Okay.
Beginning of April.
Okay. And was that
Young man, you're going to have to speak up. Scoot your chair forward a little bit. That'll help a little bit. All right. And just speak up real loud so the people in the back can hear you.
Was that because Children's Services placed you there?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that was in April?
Yes.
All right. We're here today to talk to you about your baby brother, Dylan. Would you tell the jury, did you ever see Dylan with any injuries?
He did have some swelling in his head, but otherwise I did not see any injuries upon his body.
Was his head bruised in any way?
It appeared bruised, yes.
Okay. When you say it appeared bruised, tell him what you saw.
Like blackened and purple, what you would imagine as a bruise.
And where was that?
Upon all of his head, all the way around, most just top of his head.
Okay. Was there a time when...
Speak up a little bit.
And I can't see where he's indicating on his own body.
Why don't you step up front here, Ms. Scott, so you can see.
Was there a time when baby Dylan was no longer at your house?
For a period of a couple weeks, yes.
Okay. And then later, did he not, he was gone from your house also?
Explain that.
In other words, after you saw these injuries, what happened with the baby?
After I saw these injuries, he was around for a little while, and they seemed to deplete and go down, and then that was when he was disappeared for about 2 weeks.
Okay. Did you ask your parents about the injuries to the baby, or did they tell you what happened to the baby?
They gave me explanation for the injuries, yes.
Okay. Who did that? Was that your mom or your dad?
My father.
Okay. Was your mom there?
At that time, yes, my mom was there.
Okay. What were you told about what happened to the baby?
Somewhere near the beginning, I was told about him getting a dream catcher stuck within his arm and him swinging a tiny stone up to his head. I'm not sure if that caused the swelling of his head. I don't believe it was.
Okay. You didn't do anything to hurt that baby, did you?
I did not do a single thing to hurt that baby.
Okay. Do you know who did?
I do not.
Okay. Daniel, I've talked to you twice before this, is that right?
Yes.
And ask you the same questions I'm asking you right now?
Yes.
Okay. When we've talked before, and I'm going to ask you in here for the jury, Was there a time when you were asked to give urine to either of your parents?
Yes.
Okay, tell the jury what you were doing.
It was like a cup that was so it wasn't like a standard casual cup you'd grab out of a cabinet in your house. And it was probably about every couple months.
Okay.
Yes.
And who were you giving that to?
Mainly my father.
Okay. Do you know did you see him do anything with it after you gave it to him?
I've seen him put it into like a capped lid bottle, but that's all I've seen him do with it.
Okay. And this was before you were removed by Children's Services?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm still struggling to hear him. I couldn't hear whether or not he said mom or dad on who gave the urine to.
He said his father. You can step up here, this guy.
I just have a few more questions. Tell the jury when you first realized that your mom might be pregnant.
It was somewhere around in November, or near the beginning of November in 2018.
Okay. And you remember that because your birthday's around that time?
Yeah, and I remember the event of confronting my mother with it.
Okay. What did you say to her?
I simply just asked her, because I've been noticing for a while that she seemed to be swelling like she was pregnant. I had asked her about it, and she told me that yes, she was pregnant.
Okay. And you think that was early November?
Yes.
You have just a minute. No, I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchinson. Mr. Stratton, do you have any questions? Ms. Scott, do you have any questions?
I will, Your Honor, I need to consult, make sure my notes are accurate.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Daniel. I just have a few questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And I apologize, your voice was so soft, and where I was sitting at, I apologize, I have to go over this with you again, but I didn't hear a lot of what you said, so I just want to make sure I have my notes accurately, okay?
Okay.
Is that fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. The injuries that you described to baby Dylan, I believe that you stated, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you saw his head a little bit swollen and a bruise. Is that correct?
It was most of his head that seemed like a bruise, yes.
Okay. And I know you were motioning and you were doing some motioning, and I'm sorry, my view was blocked. Could you point to that again?
Describing
please?
his head, it would be mostly upper of his, like his scalp. It wouldn't be his whole face, it would be just of his scalp and the top part of his head.
His scalp was a little bit bruised and it was swollen.
Yes, it was around all of his head, around about where you would expect hair to be.
Okay. And his head was tiny, correct?
Yes.
He was a tiny, okay. And did you see any cuts?
Cuts? No.
Okay. Did you see any, like, fresh blood?
No.
Okay. And can you please tell me again when you believe that you observed this injury?
Personally, I did not observe the injury. I came home from school one day and he had.
Sorry, that was a bad question on my
Yeah.
behalf. I'll re-ask the question. When did you see the bruising and the swelling?
I do not know the exact date of when it happened. It was sometime after the dream catcher incident I had described.
Okay, and so I know that you were taken out of the home on April the 24th, correct?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me, obviously it was before that, correct?
Yes.
So do you know if it was around Easter time that year? Do you know how many weeks it was prior to you coming out of the home?
It might have been 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks before you were taken out of the home on April the 24th.
It was, well,
Right, you saw the bruising and swelling 2 to 3 weeks prior to you being taken out of the home on April 24th.
I am a little bit unsure with the, I'd say it'd be more than 2 or 3 weeks. I am slightly unsure, but that's, yes.
So it may have been a little bit earlier than 2 or 3 weeks.
Actually, Your Honor, he said he doesn't know.
Just saying.
Okay. At first you thought it was 2 or 3 weeks, but it may not be 2 or 3 weeks now?
Looking back at the dates, I do believe it may have been longer, but I'm also not sure.
Okay. And then when after you saw the bruising and swelling to the baby's head, you stated to Miss Hutchinson when she was asking you, at some point in time after that, you no longer saw baby Dylan at all. Is that correct?
Correct.
And do you recall when that was in relation to you being taken out of the home on April the 24th?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you know how many days after that bruising and swelling happened?
It would have probably at least been a week, but at the same time, I'm not sure.
Okay. Were you home, or did you come home when Patricia? Let me strike that, Your Honor. Do you know who Patricia Kraft is?
My old caseworker, yes.
Okay. Do you recall her coming to the home sometime at the end of March, and you would have come home during that time when she was there?
I do not recall many of her visits.
Okay. Do you recall any of the visits that you visited, that you were present when she was there at the same time?
Yeah, I remember visits where she was there. I just don't remember any of the details that she
Okay.
talked about during when she
Your
was
Honor,
there.
may I get something off the table? And then you described a time period when you were providing, for lack of better words, some urine and putting it in a container for your father, I believe you said. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, do you recall, was that before baby Dylan was born or after baby Dylan was born?
There were periods of both before and after.
Okay, and do you know what he did with that urine?
As for sure, no, I was not.
Okay. Were you ever at a facility where he was requested to go into a restroom with somebody and give urine in a cup?
No.
Okay. Did you ever go into the restroom with him at the hospital and he asked you to pee in the cup for him versus him peeing in a cup?
At the hospital, no, I have not.
Okay. Did you ever have you ever been to Children's Services Agency up in New Boston?
Yes, but only like once.
Only once, okay. Did you ever go into the restroom with your dad there at that agency and pee in a cup that he was supposed to pee in a cup?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you ever do you know where juvenile court is downstairs on the second floor of this building?
Yes.
Have you ever been there?
No.
Okay. Did you ever come to court with your dad in mid-January and go into the restroom and pee in a cup for him?
No, I did not.
Okay.
All incidences of me doing that were at our own household.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Your Honor, if I can have just a second.
Any further questions, Ms. Scott?
Yes, Your Honor, sorry.
Daniel, you resided with your parents the majority of your life, is that correct?
All of my life.
All of your
until
life up
I was
until
removed.
April,
Yes.
April of last year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that your father took care of you?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did your father ever injure you?
No.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did you ever see your father injure baby Dylan?
No.
Thank you.
Any further questions, Ms. Scott?
Absolutely.
questions, thank you.
Any redirect?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
Is this young man free to go?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Free to go.
You're free to go. Council approach. This is going to be a good time to take our evening recess. Remember my earlier admonition to you, do not discuss this case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. Do not permit anyone to discuss it with you or in your presence. It is your duty not to form or express an opinion on this case until it's finally submitted to you. Remember my earlier admonition to you. I know most people have I would find out from my wife, I don't do Facebook, but a lot of people have a hard time staying off Facebook for more than a day or two at a time. We're on, tomorrow will be day 5, but I'm going to still expect you to stay off of social media, not watch the news, stay off the internet. Don't put yourself in a position to hear anyone else discuss or commentate on this case until it's finally decided. This time, the bailiff will excuse you from the jury room. Have a nice evening. Pardon? Yes. Thank you. I'm going to ask the jury be here at 8:30 in the morning. We're going to start early in the morning, and I will ask that counsel be here at 8 o'clock. We're going to do a few things before the jury gets here, but we'll ask the jury be here at 8:30, and Mr. Hutchins will have some coffee and snacks and refreshments down there for you. But I'd like to start right at about 8:30, so be here a little early. Court is recessed.